The modern serf, how serfdom persists in South Africa's governance and economy. Throughout history, men and women have sought to free themselves from bondage. Chains have changed their form, from iron to paper, from decree to debt, yet the condition of unfreedom has endured. In medieval Europe, this condition was known as serfdom. The serf was not a slave, yet not free. He tilled the land he did not own, served a lord he did not choose, and lived a life bounded by obligations he could not escape. By law, custom, or necessity, he was bound to serve generation after generation. Today, in modern South Africa, a land long declared free, the shadows of serfdom still linger, though their language has changed. The old manner has been replaced by the modern state, the corporation, and the financial system. Where once a man's servitude was enforced by a noble sword, now it is secured by law, policy, and debt. The structures differ, but the essence remains the same. Men and women compelled to serve institutions they did not create, under rules they did not author, and for benefits they seldom see. The 1956 UN Supplementary Convention on the Abolition of Slavery defines serfdom as the condition of one who is bound by law or custom to live and labor on land belonging to another, without freedom to change their status. Though South Africa's constitution abolished all formal bondage, the economic and legal architecture that governs daily life often mirrors the same principles: service without true consent. Consider the structure of land ownership. A century after the Natives Land Act and decades after formal apartheid, most South Africans remain without title to the land beneath their feet. Millions live as tenants, laborers, or informal occupiers on land controlled by the state, trusts, or private interests. They may work it, build on it, even worship on it, but they do not own it. Their right to remain is conditional, their ability to leave constrained by poverty and the absence of alternatives. That is not freedom, it is serfdom in modern dress. Serfdom also manifests in economic dependency. In a nation of vast resources and capable minds, the majority of citizens depend entirely on the state or large corporations for livelihood. Public funds meant to uplift the many are siphoned by the few. The Zondo Commission and the Auditor General have shown how private networks, politicians, and corporations have turned governance into a marketplace. Through tenders, appointments, and contracts, authority is bartered like goods, exchanged for loyalty and profit. When the state becomes a corporation and the citizen becomes its unpaid laborer, compelled to fund its failures, bound to obey its decrees, yet powerless to reform it, that too is a form of serfdom. In medieval serfdom, the peasant paid his lord with grain and labor. In modern South Africa, the citizen pays through taxation, inflated tariffs, and the cost of systemic corruption. He works longer, pays more, and receives less. When he resists, penalties await, disconnection, repossession, or the withdrawal of state services. The menace of penalty, as defined by the International Labour Organization, is the very mark of forced labor. It is not the lash of a whip, but the quiet coercion of policy. Work, comply, or suffer deprivation. This is how economic power binds the people to the land and systems they did not choose. It is the modern plantation, paved in asphalt, written in legislation, and enforced by revenue collection. Even language reveals the illusion. Citizens are called taxpayers or beneficiaries, not sovereigns. They are managed through registries, permits, and contracts, all under the jurisdiction of corporate-style departments. In law, the person is a legal fiction, a registered entity. But the living man or woman behind that fiction remains unseen, unacknowledged, and largely unheard. Thus, the corporate state, like the feudal estate, treats its people as resources to be administered, not sovereign beings to be served. Yet, history also shows that serfdom ends when the people remember their inherent authority. When they recall that law exists for man, not man for law. That consent is not permanent and authority is not absolute. Freedom is not given, it is asserted lawfully, peacefully, and with knowledge. To reclaim lawful self-determination is to end the new serfdom, not by rebellion, but by understanding the true nature of law and consent. It begins when men and women stand once more as living souls, not legal subjects. When they act not out of fear, but out of conscience. Then governance returns to its rightful balance. Service to the people under law, not over it. Serfdom in any age survives through ignorance. It ends through awareness. The chains that remain today are not iron, but belief. Belief that the people are powerless before the institutions they built. But once that illusion breaks, and the living remember who they are, then no system, no statute, and no policy can hold them bound again. That is the quiet revolution of our time. The return of the sovereign man and woman. From subject to citizen to self-determined being.